that with the basic idea of supply and demand. When, of course, the price goes up, demand drops. So we would think about this in the terms of, say, criminal law, is that when the penalties of a crime become more severe, the demand or incentive to commit those crimes drops in a corresponding fashion. And again, to quote, just so I don't misstate their careful language, the law of laws leverage is that the magnitude of legal intervention necessary to reduce or to increase the incidence of any human behavior will correlate positively or negatively, respectively, with the extent to which a predisposition contributing to that behavior was adaptive for its bearers, on average, in past environments. The basic summary of that is that the behaviors that we have with the deepest roots in our evolutionary history are likely to be the most resistant to change. Some examples of this include things like adulterous behavior and male jealousy. Adulterous behavior, for example. If in the evolutionary environment it was to our ancestors' advantage to go outside of their primary monogamous relationship and to seek out better genes, for instance, those better genes would have gone on and proliferated themselves. So basically, if our ancestors were adulterous in their actions, basically, and our genes reflect that today, it's going to require a much heavier increase in, say, penalties or fines that we impose on adultery than would be expected just a one-to-one correlation, because these are really things that have deep roots in the practices of our ancestors, and they're reflected in our genes and our behaviors and our predispositions. Another such thing is male jealousy. In the environment of evolutionary adaptation, men had high incentives to be very protective of women and to be jealous, and this arises from basic differences within the sexes, within and between the sexes, particularly the fact of internal fertilization, in that men are never 100% certain that they are the father of any particular offspring, whereas women, for very obvious reasons, are always certain that they are the mother of that particular offspring. So basically, if you're a woman, you know 100% that this is your particular child. If you're a man, you want to take steps to fend off other men and to make sure, to the highest degree possible that you can, that any child that comes from your mate is indeed your child, because it would be an evolutionary disaster if you were to invest all of your time and resources and energy into a child that was actually someone else's, just from the perspective of the genes, of course. And before I go any further in saying anything like that, this would be a good time to say, to address the naturalistic fallacy. And that is, of course, the conflation of is and ought. And just before I go any further with saying these potentially extremely offensive things, I just want to say that just because this is how things were back 1,000,000 years ago, and these things were evolutionary, these things helped us proliferate our genes back in the environment of evolutionary adaptiveness, doesn't mean they're good things or things that we need to continue to give credence to today. A lot of the things that our genes have caused us to do are horrible things, and now that we have outpaced evolution basically in the evolution, biological evolution, in the evolution of our culture, we can kind of put those things aside in the interest of higher morality and whatnot. So with that said, one of the things that evolution would give us kind of cause to look out for is a deep pattern in the legal architecture across cultures. And one of the things that a lot of people, it's a popular belief, is that legal systems across the world are really a reflection of culture and cultural norms, things that have been shared among those people and created. But if we look at it from an evolutionary lens, we would expect that our legal systems will address the things that were the most important to us in the evolutionary environment, that they would reflect evolved species-typical interests. And that happens to be the case. If you look at the legal systems across the world, this is true in aspects of the law spanning the entire first-year legal curriculum. If you look at property in almost every single system, if someone dies in intestate succession, if someone dies without a will, the default is almost always that their property, land, etc., will go to those who were close to them. And that's because no matter who you are as a person, as a human being, because of the evolution and because of the influence that genes have upon us, we want to see those related to us succeed. We want to invest our resources in them because they share genes with us as well. This is also true in the aspect of crimes of passion. Almost every legal system in the world treats crimes of passion that reflect strong emotions based upon these evolutionary urges differently from premeditated crimes. And it's also, to just give one more example, this is true in the case of sexual crimes and rape in particular. In no legal system is rape ever treated lightly. It's treated completely differently from any other kind of physical assault. And though it varies considerably in the particular, there is an evolved and kind of almost innate repugnancy, kind of, that toward men who deprive women of the opportunity to choose their mate. And this is reflected in legal systems across the world. We would also expect to see patterns in the way that we try to enforce our laws. And we would expect these incentives and these punishments to reflect the things that we are evolved to care about. And as it just so happens, this is what occurs in all the legal systems across the world. Just think about two of the most basic ways of punishing anyone. There are fines and there is imprisonment. Fines take away your resources, and resources are of the utmost importance and were of the utmost importance in the evolutionary environment. You need resources to eat and to live comfortably, and you need to have these resources to attract mates and to be successful reproductively. So these fines really hit us in a spot where we are evolved to feel it. Same with imprisonment. Imprisonment, to an even greater degree, and possibly reflecting why we think it's that much worse of a punishment, deprives us of almost every opportunity for reproductive success. You have no sexual opportunity in prison for the most part. Certainly no chance to reproduce, at least in the United States, and presumably in most countries across the world. And that fact that men and women are segregated in prison reflects that. If men and women weren't segregated in prison, it wouldn't be that bad of a punishment from an evolutionary perspective. But this deprivation, this wholesale deprivation of any opportunity for you to proliferate your genes, is something that really strikes us in our evolved core. To kind of think about why this is important. We can think about everything that the law doesn't do. I mean, it's